Alto strummed his lute as he walked. The sky was clear, and the weather was perfect. Nothing to worry about for the bard. The plains spread out. Then the ground began to rumble. He stopped and looked about. It was faint, but like standing on a drum. Then it was gone. Alto looked about, but nothing was there. So he started again. He followed the road up to a canyon. A wooden porch looked out across the vast expanse. It was a barren desert, but regular paces were great indents into the earth. Alto stared at them, for he felt a rumble once more. Looking down from the porch, he saw a giant, a towering figure that could reach up to the top of the canyon. His eyes went wide in astonishment. Welcome back to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, we turn our attention to a sort of mythical creature, which can be found amongst all cultures, the giants. Let's take a look at these gigantic figures, see what we can learn of them. The origin of giants are as many as their names. Each nation holds their own origins. For the Greeks, it came from the blood of Uranus that fell upon Gaia of the earth, though there are tales of them having serpent-like legs. In Norse, they were an ancient people, often called the Jotuns. In China, the giant Panku aided in the creation of the world. Now, they have a human form usually, so that means their biology is simple. Giants are mostly known for their size. They tower over humans and wield incredible strength. They can be friendly or antagonistic depending on the story. Today, we will not be going through the various origins, but rather we will focus on other features. How could they exist? Are they related to humans? And how big are they? So what makes something a giant? This is up to much debate. Is someone 100 feet tall a giant? 50 feet? What about 20 feet? 10? According to what records I could find, the tallest human man in history was Robert Wadlow at 8 feet 11 inches or 272 centimeters. Now, one cause, but not all, is a condition called gigantism. The usual causes are caused by a deformity or tumor along the pituitary gland, or an excess of human growth hormone. Proper nutrition also influences height. Throw in good genetics, and we've got a bit of an idea. But this won't cause a giant. No. When it comes to genetics, there's a limit on the potential of how tall a human can grow. Most studies say that Robert Wadlow is close to the limit of human height. Currently, the average man is around 69 inches or 1.7 meters. For a woman, it is 63 inches or 1.6 meters. So, how tall is a giant? This varies among different sources, so I am going to have to make a few estimates. Among the more common heights, which I found, are 30 feet or 9 meters, 50 feet or 15 meters, and 100 feet, or about 30 meters. In almost every visual media I have looked at, giants' proportions are often off relative to humans. Things are off, too big or too small, inconsistencies between the scenes. So let's see if we can figure out how long each part of the body is. You'll know some of these proportions if you do a lot of sketching. Among humans, women are about 91% a man's height. For giants, that means they'll be the female equivalents would be about 27.4 feet, 45.6, and 91.3 feet. If we compare a 30-foot giant to a male human, we get 5.22 times bigger, 8.7 times for 50-footers, and 16.4 times when dealing with a 100-foot tall giant. We can use this to produce a ratio. I've got a chart here. Sorry if it is a little sloppy, that helps sort the information out. Here you get a chance to see the mayhem, which is my thought process. Your full height is about 7.5 times your head. So human heads are about 9.2 and 8.4 inches for male and female respectively. That means for our giants, we get 4 feet, 6.7 feet, and 13 feet for the males. Looking at the arms next, we have 31 inches and 24 inches for humans. Thus, for your 3 giant heights, we get 13.5 and 10.4 feet for the 30-foot giants, 22.5 and 17.4 feet at 50 feet, and 42 and 33 feet at 100 feet tall. Legs aren't too far off at 32 and 29.5 inches for humans. And for a 30-footer, 14 and 13 feet. 50-foot giants are 23 and 21 feet length legs. And at 100 feet, the legs are 44 and 40 feet long. Next, let's look at the distance between the shoulders. For humans, we get 16.1 inches and 14.4 inches respectively. So when we convert it to a giant, we get 7 feet and 6.3 feet at 30 feet tall, 11.7 and 10.4 feet at 50 feet, and 22 and 19.7 feet at 100 feet tall. At the hips, humans are close at 36.5 and 36 inches on average. This varies more than most other ratios though. So for the giants, we get a circumference of 15.9 and 15.7 feet for 30 feet tall, 26.5 and 26.1 feet at 50 feet, and 49.9, 49.2 feet at 100 feet tall. Next are the feet, which are 11 and 10 inches in length, so 4.8 and 4.6 feet long at 30 feet tall, 8 and 7.3 feet for 50 foot tallers, and 15 and 13.7 feet at 100 feet tall. Human hands are about 7.8 inches and 6.8 inches when spread out. So with a 30-foot giant, the hand would be 3.3 and 3 feet, 5.5 and 5 feet at 50 feet, and 100 feet tall, the hands are 10.4 and 9.3 feet wide. Often in literature, there's a talk of a giant eating people. So let's see if we can figure out how big their mouths are. A man's mouth is about 72.1 milliliters. A woman's is 55.4 milliliters, or 4.4 cubic inches, and 3.38 cubic inches for volume. But assuming it is roughly cubic shape, we can convert it to size and then scale up and then back to volume. When we do that, we get 0.36 cubic feet, 1.66 cubic feet, and 11 cubic feet for the males. For the female giants, we get 0.28, 1.29, and 8.62 cubic feet. Yeah, it gets large pretty fast. Now, a human body is about 2.2 cubic feet. That means that the 50 and 30-foot giants cannot swallow a human whole. They'll need to bite you in half first. By a 100-foot giant, you'll have plenty of room to hide in their mouth. I'm not sure it would be comfortable for you or the giant, but you could. Okay, now for the fun ones. We'll be going into some more questionable stuff, and if that isn't your thing, I'll put a mark up to jump to. Ready? We are going south of the border here. So the average human man's member is about 6 inches, and a circumference of 5 inches. So for a giant, we get 2.61 feet, 4.35 feet, and 7.8 feet long. And for the circumference, we get 26.4 inches, 43.7, and 82.4 inches. The female equivalent should be of a comparable depth, if not a little deeper. Now for the breasts. The average bust size for a woman is around 36 C. Now, funny enough, finding the volume of breast has given me a wide range, the low end of 280 cubic centimeters to up to 590 due to variations of breast shape. So I look at breast depth. At the C cup, it is about 3 inches. So if we use the ratio from before, we get a depth of 1.3, 2.2, and 4.1 feet. We could use this to deduce the volume of a circle, okay, each breast being 32 liters at 30 feet, 150 liters at 50 feet, and 1,022 liters at 100 feet tall. This sounds somewhat likely. To put it into perspective, a waterbed is about 900 liters. Okay, sorry if that was boring, but that is a lot of information and a lot of work to figure out. Of course, my math could be wrong, and all of this is irrelevant. Now, in many fantasy settings, we have half-giants, so how is this possible? Could a human sperm fertilize a giant's egg, or vice versa? Most mammals have similar sized cells. This includes humans and whales, so in theory, they could match up, assuming that there is enough genetic similarity. But there are size issues. Anatomically, size difference makes traditional mating impossible. Let's go male human and female giant first. Normally, the sperm needs to travel about 7 inches to reach the ovulated egg, and they do this in about 45 minutes, and survives for up to 5 eggs. So about 9 inches an hour. Now, a 100-foot giant, the journey of the sperm would be 114.8 inches. So it would take 12 to 13 hours to make the journey. Plenty of time to spare, even more with the smaller giants. So in theory, you could actually impregnate a giant. But what about the other way? Could a human bear a giant's child? There is no way to mate normally. Too big a size problem. So I'll let you think about how. But there'd be no problem with a giant sperm reaching a human's egg. But could she carry the child to term? If the child grows too much, then no. A baby is about 20 inches long, so a 30-foot giant would be 8.7 feet tall, 14.5 feet for a 50-footer, and 27.3 at 100 feet. Even without taking volume into account, the halfway point for a human and giant baby is too big for a human to carry to term. So no, a human woman probably can't carry a giant's child. Okay, now we are in the clear. Let's deal with that weight now. And there's a problem. We're dealing with the squared cubed law. You see how big a difference this makes with things like the breast and mouth. Now, there is a way to estimate the height, comparing them to a real animal of similar size. But there aren't any animals with a bipedal design, and we are going to rely on comparable estimates. So an animal that is about 30 feet in length, we have the Triceratops, which weighs 6 to 12 metric tons. For 50 feet, we have the Brachiosaur, which is between 28 to 58 tons. Lastly, we can compare the blue whale to the 100-foot tall giant. That will give us 196 tons. These aren't going to be accurate, due to having to adjust the anatomy. Their hips and leg bones are going to need reinforcements, quadrupling to take extra weight. We'll need to do this for the hips and spine systems too. To take extra weight in each limb, we'll need to reinforce the ligaments and muscles. Yet here's the problem. By adding these improvements, we add more weight, and thus we need to further improve the systems to take the weight. We end up with a feedback loop that quickly runs overboard. I would also enlarge the feet to promote support and balance. So, where would they live? In many series, they say giants live in mountains. Do you see a problem here? They aren't exactly small, and mountains are often very steep and frequently have narrow passages. So no, I don't think the giants would call mountains their home, nor the forest. The best place for them to live would be on the open plains. This would give them plenty of room to move about. It also reduces the risk of falling in a landslide. Many dinosaurs of these sizes are very susceptible to breaking bones in a fall. Another reason they would benefit from open terrain. It would also open up more farming options. A human needs about 5 pounds of food a day. At a linear increase in food, the demands we get is 26.1, 43.5, and 82 pounds of food a day. And that doesn't make sense with this volume. Nope, not even close. For most large animals, be it whales or dinosaurs, they average around 4% of their body weight each day in food. So our low estimate for weight was 6 metric tons. That would give us about 530 pounds of food a day. That's going to make feeding them difficult. They'll need large fields. But what would they grow? Would they hunt? This is going to be difficult. Ideally, they'll need large grazing animals with extra large fruit and vegetables. Sure, there are squashes and pumpkins of massive size, but those take a long time to grow, and are rare. Domesticating a breed of elephant or comparable animal would definitely be an option. Sadly, there aren't any good choices for their diets, at least not reliable ones. They could go after whales, but they aren't easy to target, and giants would need to become sailors. Loads of problems right there. Can they talk? With each other, obviously, but with a human, maybe. The voices would be deep and may pass into a frequency that humans can't pick up with the taller giants. On their end, our voices would be shrill and squeaky. It would take practice for a human and a giant to learn to communicate. Now, I think giants should fall as a close relative to humans. Homo gigantus, perhaps. So, how would we battle a giant? Trip them. Use magic to turn the ground to ice. Or slick mud. Use gallons of grease. Or dig a giant pit. Anything to give the giant a fall. Arrows may be able to pierce the skin. If it can reach an organ, it can do some damage. But a better option would be a ballista bolt, or a trebuchet to break the bones on impact. In close quarter combat, you'll need to avoid any weapon it carries. Club or sharpened blade, swung by a 10-foot long arm, will cleave your armor. I don't care what you are wearing. Your armor is toast. If by some miracle it survives, you'll go flying. Of course, giants don't need weapons, just good boots. They can just step on you. With feet that big, little will stop it, and all that weight behind it. You can use a sword or axe to cut the Achilles heel and cause it to topple down, but you'll need a lot of muscle to pull that off. A shield won't do you any good, at least of all if the giant has range. They can chuck boulders, and I'm pretty sure you can't catch a flying boulder. I know I can't, but they could make a bow. They'll take an entire tree to create one bow, but potentially possible. Oh, and the arrows would be just as big. Not something I would want to get hit by. Those large hands can easily crush you. It'll need to be about 50 feet tall before it can crush you with one hand though. On the magic front, you can use any you want, but you'll need more power. Fireballs in place of fire bolts. You want power, not accuracy. I mean, what are your chances of missing a giant? Yet, there are some giants which can wield magic. Be ready for it. Now, if you must engage them, find a narrow area, a canyon or dense forest. If you have a druid that can alter the terrain, use it. If clever, you can raise up a cage of dense trees to hold it back, for a bit. Its strength will help it escape though. When it does go down, don't let it land on you. You'll get pinned, if not flattened. Just don't come in near a giant in a fight. Overall, giants are difficult in battle. Due to their size, I'm giving it a 7 of 10 for difficulty. It's best to fight them at range. Avoid getting too close. Their size can be difficult to create traps or limits their mobility. You'll need to fight them smart, but you can overcome the giant's brute strength. After felling the giant, you can loot its possessions. Their armor and weapon is oversized, but can be melted down and converted into something else. The hair of their beard and head can be used to make rope, and their tan skin is useful in tents and heavy armor. But it is best not to wake a sleeping giant, but to work with them. Giants make incredible bodyguards. Their strength can push aside most combatants. They'll have a high food demand, not good for city work, best for caravan escort quests. If you have a scout or a mage, you could put them on top of a platform on the giant, gain a great vantage point. A helmet like a cup would work perfectly, or a shoulder purchase. A giant can carry heavy boulders or luggage, create a giant backpack filled with wares. It'll be hard for thieves to take it from the back of a giant. Just be ready for traps and ambushes, trip lines or pitfalls. Be ready for the same tricks that you would use to bring them down. In the village, they can aid with farming, uprooting trees and boulders, a lot of heavy lifting. Well, not really for them. Now, what do giants gain by working with humans? Well, giants struggle in mining. It can be hard to see small scraps of iron at their size. They cannot work well underground easily. They could do strip mining as the safest way to mine. Alto sat back in his seat, a large platform set over the giant's shoulder, which held up a dozen travelers heading over the desert. Their guide let out a grunt as he responded to his companion's questions. Alto took his leisure time to play a tune for the other passengers and for the giant. His melody made the giant chuckle, which sent a rumble through the platform. It was abrupt, but no worse than the giant's footsteps. The giant is a varied group, and will take many videos to address their different factions. I know this one was a little different, but getting an idea to their true size may help some. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next week, where we will face the beast of India, known as the Rakshasa. Until then, I'll see you on the road.